Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH Rebirth of Emperor Yang episode number 193 based on novel. So let's start. With Wu Gang leading the way, Xiao Yan easily entered the auction house. Anyone who missed it all the way through respectful and curious eyes. He was surprised at Xiao Yang's appearance. Although Xiao Yang was helpless, he had to shrug his shoulders and ignore it. Wu Gang, on the other hand, looked at Xiao Yang with a little appreciation. If you are an ordinary person, especially a young man like the latter, you will inevitably show a proud smile on your face under the eyes of curiosity in that kind of respect. However, looking at Xiao Yang, you can see that the mind of the latter is by no means comparable to that of ordinary people. Soon, Xiao Yang followed Wu Gang to a specially prepared box. This is the most luxurious auction place in the whole auction house. Naturally, it is also used to entertain distinguished guests. Generally speaking, people who can enter here are people with high wealth and strong strength. Moreover, the lowest standard is the 8-star duty. This shows how much Wu Gang attaches importance to Xiao Yang. This time, even some strong fighters in the channel couldn't bear to give Xiao Yang a shocked look. Unfortunately, they could only watch the latter enter the VIP room. There was nothing else in their eyes except envy. Hehe, I don't know if it can meet Xiao Yang's wishes here. When you enter the box, you can see that it has a size of nearly 100 square meters, and there are a variety of decorations. Even the seats are made of good jade. Even the blankets on the stone chairs are embedded with magic cores, which can make the blankets extremely comfortable at all times. The stone chair is also a special jade material. The faint aroma emitted from it also has some special abilities. If you use this chair for a long time, it may bring great benefits to the human body. Tut tut. All this can be called luxury, especially the magic core. With Xiao Yang's eyesight, it can be seen at a glance that the magic core was obtained from a warcraft at the level of Fighting Emperor, and there are at least a dozen magic cores here. That is to say, for these magic cores alone, we have to kill more than 10 warcraft at the level of Fighting Emperor. This kind of handwriting is really the most luxurious Xiao Yang has ever seen. Hehe, if Xiao Yang is still satisfied, then I'll go first. There are still a lot of things to be solved in the auction house. Today, there are also many powerful figures. I have to go and have a look. Seeing the shocking color on Xiao Yang's face, Wu Gang smiled and immediately turned out of the door, gave an order to a hot maid outside the door, and then left. Then the maid entered the box. "Sir, Vice President," he asked his maid to serve you. The maid walked to Xiao Yang with a timid face. Her pretty face and lovely appearance made people want to pinch her hands. Her plump and delicate body was covered by only a piece of rag-like rag, and most of the snow-white spring light was released. If ordinary people saw it, I'm afraid it would have been out of control, but now. Xiao Yang's dark eyes were shining brightly at this time. His eyes swept over the magic cores one by one. His heart was even more excited. There were more than a dozen duty-level magic cores. If these magic cores were taken out, it would be a huge wealth. Thinking of this, Xiao Yang couldn't help but feel excited and pursed her lips. Xiao Yang just wanted to move. Then, she felt a strange look. She was slightly surprised and looked aside. Only then did she notice the hot maid beside her. Just at this moment, there was a mocking smile on her delicate and pretty face. The smile seemed to say that at least he was invited by the vice president. He looked like a poor man. Cough. Aware of the strange smile on the maid's face, Xiao Yang could not help but get an old face and smiled awkwardly. "You go out. I don't need to be waited on." Hearing this, the maid looked up and down again. Xiao Yang twisted her delicate body and turned away from the box. "I'm a poor man." Seeing the maid leave, Xiao Yang couldn't help touching his nose and mouth. Before he came to the seat, his eyes swept from those magic cores with reluctance. Finally, he had to shrug helplessly and sit down. In the outside world at this time, the strong people from all walks of life have gathered in the auction house. Sure enough, all the people or forces wearing the milky white ring have successfully entered the auction house. Although only 5 times of the rings have been issued, the number of people in the auction house is close to 1,000 because of the number of people brought by various forces, As for those who don't have rings outside the auction house, although they are unwilling, they have to leave bitterly under the strong dignity of the auction house. Of course, they must have learned a bloody lesson before that. Looking at the auction house, the box where Xiao Yang is located is generally the same as that seen in the past. There will be a projection on the front wall of the box, which can present all the situations in the field in front of Xiao Yang. On the auction ground at the moment, the huge auction table slowly split, and the floor contracted, revealing the 4 steps facing the 4 directions under it. Immediately, hot maids came out of it, holding a tray covered with black cloth in their hands. As for the things placed in it, it was also due to special preparation, it's impossible to guess. After this group of maids came out, the people on the auction ground naturally turned their eyes to the past. One moment there was a slightly noisy auction ground, and the next moment, everyone's eyes fell on those trays. After some exploration failed, the people's eyes fell on the dozens of hot and tall maids, scanning their sexy bodies. At this time, the void space in the center of the huge auction platform suddenly twisted. Then, a slender middle-aged man also appeared in the center of the auction house. Hey, everyone, thank you for coming to the auction of Jinyaocheng in your busy schedule. I am LV Zhongtian, the president of the auction house and the chief auctioneer of the auction. In such a large auction house, people's eyes locked on the middle-aged man the moment he appeared, especially in the VIP boxes. The eyes they cast on LV Zhongtian contained a deep color of fear. At this moment, when the people present heard the name of LV Zhongtian, even some forces who had never seen the former in the field could not help showing a look of fear. Obviously, although LV Zhongtian was not outside, this name shocked the western regions. LV Zhongtian, but with his strength alone, he can break into the top 3 ranks of the western regions. Hearing the latter's name, at this moment, even Xiao Yang in the box could not help but have a look of shock on his face. Obviously, even he had heard of the latter's name. This man, although his strength has not yet broken through the Huiyuan realm, his cultivation of 9-star fighting emperor has already reached the peak. Even if he is only 1 step away from the Huiyuan realm. Hehe, everyone, I won't say more polite words. I know you are all here for the auction today. In that case, as the president, I can only wish you can shoot the items you are satisfied with. In addition, please abide by the rules of the auction house. No one is allowed to do anything in the auction house. Once you appear, I will force you to leave the auction house at the same time. You will also lose your auction qualification. No matter what items you have auctioned before, we will take them back. Although it was said with a smile, LV Zhongtian's words made most of the people present turn pale. Even the people in those boxes did not dare to pass over these words easily. Seeing the look of fear on the faces of all the people on the field, LV Zhongtian smiled with satisfaction. Immediately, he patted his palm and made a very loud echo in the silent auction field. Then, a tall maid respectfully came forward and handed the tray in his hand to LV Zhongtian. The void was distorted again, and an empty auction table appeared. After the waitress carefully placed the tray on it, he consciously withdrew. Then, LV Zhongtian looked at the whole audience, with a smile on his mouth and a refined appearance. Who can see that this is a big man who can shake the whole western region by stamping his feet? Hehe, this first auction item is a dagger named Wufeng. It is made of blood dragon wood. It is extremely hard and bloodthirsty. Because it contains the magic core of a 4-star fighting emperor warcraft, it also has the ability to break through fighting chi. In addition, it also has certain toxicity. After a brief introduction, LV Zhongtian took out a prepared 3rd-order defensive array and opened it. As you can see, this array is a 3rd-order low-level array. Generally speaking, it can resist the full attack of a 2-star fighting emperor. He said it lightly. Immediately, LV Zhongtian picked up the dagger in front of him. Then, without any fighting spirit, he stabbed it heavily on the array in front of him. Bang! However, this array only lasted for less than a moment and burst. Suddenly, the whole audience was in an uproar. The array that could resist the full attack of a 2-star fighting emperor was easily pierced by this no front, which is unimaginable without the support of fighting spirit. If there is the support of fighting spirit, then this dagger, what a sharp edge it would be. In an instant, all the people present threw fiery eyes at the Wufeng. Although not all the people present are good at using daggers, there must be some kind of strong ones in their respective forces. If they can bring this no front back, they must be able to add a lot of strength to their own forces, which is naturally worth their heart. As for Xiao Yan in the box, he used the giant ruler as a weapon and was used to the huge and open-ended moves of the giant ruler. As for this tricky and small weapon, he was not interested. Wufeng, starting at 80 low-level spirit stones. Wow! Although Wufeng's ability made everyone present excited, the price deterred many people. Of course, among the people present, there are naturally some strong people who use daggers as weapons. However, for a long time, there are a series of shouts and claps in the field. Finally, even some forces who originally planned to give up the auction participated in the auction. In the end, this Wufeng was successfully auctioned at the price of 470 spirit stones. At the same time, the smile on LV Zhongqian's face on the auction platform also became more generous. With this brief upsurge, LV Zhongqian struck while the iron was hot. However, in 2 hours, there were several valuable items that were successfully auctioned, and their prices made LV Zhongqian laugh. At the same time, even Xiao Yang, who was in the box at the moment, couldn't help but smack his tongue. These forces are really like Qin Yun said, but they are rich and powerful. In just 2 hours, there are nearly 2,000 pieces of low-level spirit stones alone. No wonder they can deceive the top 500 forces in the Western region. Now think about it. The so-called 4 major doors are really nothing. There are only 4 8-star Dipper Emperors, and there are no fewer than 5 in the auction house at the moment. Even the 9-star Dipper Emperor has as many as 4. Forces like this can easily leave the 4 major gates behind. Sure enough, the tigers that really bite people are those who seem to lie quietly on one side and ignore you. If they really dare to underestimate them, no one knows that it will suddenly attack you at a certain moment. Thinking of this, Xiao Yang couldn't help narrowing his eyes and thinking secretly in his heart. Time gradually flows through the warm auction. No one cares and no one measures it. However, they know that they are ushering in wave after wave of climax in the auction. Each auction item is more attractive than the previous one. Naturally, the auction price is more exaggerated. Until a certain moment, LV Zhongqian opened a tray again. This time, what appeared in front of everyone was a whole body blood-red fruit. The most amazing thing was that the surface of the fruit was actually covered with a layer of mysterious scales, like snake scales, but it was different. However, at the moment when the fruit reflected in Xiao Yang's eyes, the latter's black eyes suddenly burst into a surprise color. His hands involuntarily grasped the handrail, and the mood in his heart suddenly became excited at this moment. On the auction table, LV Zhongqian took off the black cloth covering the tray in front of him. Then, the first thing that caught the eyes of the public was a jade box with a length and width of several inches. When LV Zhongqian opened the jade box, a blood-red fruit appeared in the sight of the people present. The shape of the blood-colored fruit looks like the size of the fire dragon fruit, and the whole body is suffused with a bright red color like blood. When you look carefully, it seems that there is really blood flowing on the red skin. Under the strange blood-red light, the surface of the fruit is covered with a strange scale like a snake rather than a snake. The scales are rhombic and cover the surface of the fruit layer by layer, so that the fruit looks quite smooth and looks like a bird's egg from a distance. While the fruit was exposed to the air, Xiao Yang in the box also saw the bright red fruit in the field through the screen in front of him. At this moment, Xiao Yang's black eyes locked the fruit. In his heart, there was an excited emotion that could hardly be restrained. The hands that had been gently placed on the stone handrail, now involuntarily grasped, the green tendons showed, the terrible strength was released from the fingertips, and the handrail was easily crushed. Standing up, Xiao Yang stared at the fruit in front of him, and his face couldn't help showing a fanatical look. This is dragon scale fruit, there must be some acquaintances among you. Just when Xiao Yang was excited about it, LV Zhongqian in the field also introduced it to the people with a smile. Dragon scale fruit, just like its name, grows where thousands of dragon scales gather. Gathering countless dragon scales, we have a certain chance to grow dragon scale fruit. Wow! As soon as these words came out, the people present immediately burst into an uproar. In their eyes when they looked at the dragon scale fruit, they couldn't help but look shocked. They didn't know that some people of the dragon scale fruit, and their faces also looked extremely surprised. The dragon scale is the symbol of the Taishu ancient dragon family, and the Taishu ancient dragon is the supreme force on the mainland. Its strength makes all living creatures afraid. Gathering countless dragon scales, they have a certain chance to grow dragon scales and fruits. From this point alone, the value of dragon scales and fruits is amazing. Being able to get involved with the Taishu ancient dragon family, even if it's just a fixed point fur, is enough to excite these people present. Indeed, the dragon scale fruit is indeed related to the Taishu ancient dragon family. Of course, it is only in some aspects. It seemed that he saw the fiery thoughts among the people present. This time, LV Zhongtian didn't boast too much and said, "The dragon scale fruit can't enhance the cultivator's accomplishments. At the same time, from the simple nature, it can't recover the injury." Here, LV Zhongtian paused deliberately. Among the people present, most people who didn't know about the dragon scales and fruits frowned tightly. They could neither enhance their cultivation nor recover their injuries. In that case, what's the use? The real effect of dragon scale fruit is increase physical strength. In the box, Xiao Yan almost spoke with LV Zhongtian at the same time. The former looked plain, but the latter looked full of enthusiasm. Yes, the effect of dragon scale fruit is to enhance the physical strength of the swallower. In a way, the effect of swallowing dragon scale fruit is no less than swallowing a huaji pill, but the development direction of the two is different. Enhance physical strength. These words came into the ears of most of the forces present, but they didn't get much tied. After all, these people still focus on fighting spirit cultivation. In their opinion, physical strength is too weak. In actual combat, with the help of fighting spirit, physical strength can't play an effective strength at all. Auctioning this dragon scale fruit is not good for them. Of course, not everyone would think so, and there were not strong people without physical strength. Therefore, in a moment, there were hot words in the field. "Haha, it's good. It's actually a dragon scale fruit. President, announce the price quickly. I can't wait to win it. Hey, recently, one of my physical fighting skills is suffering from being unable to break through the bottleneck. Now it's good to take the initiative to deliver it to the door. I'll take the dragon scales and fruits." On the stand, several forces kept making a sound. When they looked at the dragon scale fruit, they also had a fiery color, dragon scale fruit. This is the greatest help for them who are strong in cultivating physical strength. With dragon scale fruit, they can improve their real strength a lot, which saves them a lot of cultivation time. Seeing such a scene on the stage, LV Zhongtian on the auction platform also smiled. Although it has been predicted that not many people will be interested in the dragon scale fruit, it has exceeded his expectation to have such a heat. The starting price of this dragon scale fruit is 200 low-grade spirit stones. Please. LV Zhongtian swept the audience with a smile, raised his hand and made an invitation gesture to the people present. Then, he stopped talking and waited for the changes on the field. At first, the price of 200 low-grade spirit stones did frighten many people present. Although they were more or less powerful behind them, this did not mean that they could see 200 spirit stones as nothing. However, under the great temptation of dragon scale fruit, finally, some people could not continue to be silent and bid first. With the first bid, there will naturally be a second and a third. Therefore, for a long time, the price of dragon scale fruit has rapidly increased from 200 spirit stones at the beginning to 500 spirit stones, and even continues to rise. I produced 600 spirit stones. At this time, in a box in the auction house, a rather thick voice suddenly came out. Suddenly, the people on the scene couldn't help but follow their prestige. Just now, after noticing that the sound came from the box, the faces of those families also couldn't help changing slightly. If they are ordinary forces, they naturally have no scruples, but if they change to the people in those boxes, they have to be careful again and again. The forces that can enter those boxes are the real top forces in the western regions. Most of them can enter only those forces that President LV Zhongtian can pay attention to. Therefore, the words from that box have a great deterrent to these forces. Although they were lucky enough to enter the auction, They also knew in their hearts that the real competition was the last Fusang flower. At the moment, only the people in those boxes could really auction Fusang flowers. At most, they could only auction the items in front of them. They know this very well. In the field, with the sound of thick words in the box, the forces gradually subsided. As for the other boxes, although those forces also knew the value of dragon scale fruit, it was not suitable for them after all. Therefore, no one offered. The appearance of this scene made LV Zhongtian on the auction stage frown slightly. The people in the box began to bid from now on, which undoubtedly broke his expectation. At the same time, he was afraid that it would also cause a certain difference in the profits of the auction, which was beyond his expectation. But from the current situation, it seems that no one plans to bid anymore. Can this dragon scale fruit only auction the price of 600 spirit stones? This dragon scale fruit is only effective for those who cultivate physical strength. There are a few people who can use it. Since there is no bid in the field, I think no one will follow. In that case, please judge Lord Lu. In the box, a thick voice of words came out again, and the words also made many people present helpless to shrug. Indeed, although the dragon scale fruit is valuable, it is only effective for people who practice physical strength. Even if ordinary people take it, the results are very small. It is precisely for this reason that the auction price of dragon scale fruit is limited, which makes the number of people who really auction in the market very small. Alas! After a long time of fruitless, LV Zhongtian had to shake his head helplessly in his heart. He raised his eyes and wanted to judge the auction result of dragon scale fruit. However, at this time, Xiao Yang, who had been hesitant in the box, finally frowned and asked LV Zhongtian, "President Lu, I wonder if this dragon scale fruit can be auctioned with other items of equal value." Because Xiao Yang intends to keep the spirit stone as an avatar to improve his cultivation, he does not intend to auction the dragon scales and fruits with the spirit stone in the ring. Therefore, he can only look at other valuable things in his ring. The words that Xiao Yang suddenly uttered also made the people present concentrate instantly, and then his eyes turned, including the people in the other boxes at the moment, all looked at the box where Xiao Yang was at the moment. At the same time, LV Zhongtian on the auction platform was stunned by Xiao Yang's words. He immediately smiled and said, "Sir, if you can get items worth more than 600 spirit stones, you can naturally auction dragon scales and fruits." When saying this, LV Zhongtian's eyes stared at the box where Xiao Yang was, and his face also regained a smile. In the box, Xiao Yang, who heard this, nodded with a smile and said with a smile, "In that case, I wonder if 10 bottles of Bingling cold liquid are worth the price." On the auction ground, because Xiao Yang spit out this sentence, the people present were stunned instantly. The words spit out from Xiao Yang's mouth just a moment ago echoed in their minds. Everyone's heart set off a storm. Although the name Bingling cold liquid is familiar to many people on the mainland, few people can really see it or even get it. It's nothing else, just because of its environment and the terrible energy contained in Bingling cold liquid. Even the strong fighting emperor can't resist that energy. Of course, specifically, Bingling cold liquid itself does not have such terrible power. The reason is because of the relationship between Bingling cold spring. The output of Bingling cold spring on the mainland is extremely rare, which makes the value of Bingling cold liquid itself more precious. In addition, its extremely cold attribute that can suppress different fire makes the value of Bingling cold liquid double and soar. If compared, the value of 10 bottles of Bingling cold liquid is far more than 600 spirit stones, or even the value of Bingling cold liquid. Lingsha can't estimate it at all. At this moment, everyone on the court was shocked by Xiao Yang's words. Of course, Xiao Yang didn't feel much about it. After all, with the ice spirit in his hand, the extremely cold smell can continuously condense the ice spirit cold liquid for Xiao Yang. Since he left Shilin mountain range, up to now, in Xiao Yang's acceptance ring, there are already more than 100 bottles of Bingling cold liquid. These 10 bottles of Bingling cold liquid are just flicking fingers and blowing hair with Xiao Yang. On the other side, in a box, Qin Yun and Yang He sitting beside him had the greatest emotional change in his heart. Others didn't know the origin of the ice spirit cold liquid, but he could imagine it. His ice spirit cold liquid. Did he get it from there? Qin Yun's body trembled uncontrollably. The stone chair he sat on was filled with dense cracks unconsciously, but under the strong pressure of the latter, it was still squeezed to keep the original state. Little Lord, Bingling cold liquid is very important. You can't make a conclusion. Then you say, in this western region, in addition to there, where else can you produce ice spirit cold liquid? Qin Yun's voice sank and shouted majestically. The latter heard the speech, the expression on his face suddenly changed, subconsciously lowered his head and dared not speak more. This matter must be asked clearly. When the auction is over, I not only want him to die, but also get the ice spirit cold liquid in his hand. Qin Yun's face showed a fierce light, and his eyes showed all the murders. His cold eyes stared at the jade cup in front of him. At the moment he released his hand, the jade cup was covered by a layer of extremely cold ice. When he landed, it made a crisp breaking sound, turned into debris and scattered on the ground. Yes. Hearing Qin Yun's order, Yang he nodded expressionless, and felt a burst of pity for Xiao Yang in his heart. Speaking of it, Xiao Yang and them should have been passers-by, but unfortunately, the latter was chosen by Qin Yun with bad luck and became a sharp blade that they showed to the outside world, while they were temporarily hidden. As soon as the time came, it was time to get out of the scabbard, and when the time came, Xiao Yang would become the culprit of all this. Is to successfully complete the original plan. Outside, after a short silence, the people on the field gradually recovered, but their eyes involuntarily fell on the box where Xiao Yang was located. It's impossible for ordinary forces to get 10 bottles of ice spirit cold liquid, but listening to the clear voice just now, this person should not be old, but they don't know why. It seems that they have never heard of such a person in the western regions. Sir, 10 bottles of ice spirit cold liquid are naturally more precious than 600 spirit stones. However, I wonder if you can take out the ice spirit cold liquid and let me identify it. Although Xiao Yang's bid shocked LV Zhongtian, he was not a fool. After so many years of business, without perfect assurance, he could not believe that he could really take out 10 bottles of Bingling cold liquid. After all, Bingling cold liquid is too precious. He had to pay attention to it again and again for the benefit of the auction house. Please forgive me, sir. I only do this for the interests of both sides. It seems that in order not to let Xiao Yang misunderstand, then LV Zhongtian hurriedly added. Smelling the speech, Xiao Yang in the box smiled. Naturally, he could understand LV Zhongtian's idea. After all, the auction object was also a valuable dragon scale fruit. Once Xiao Yang couldn't get the ice spirit cold liquid at that time, wouldn't there be no one to compensate for the loss of the auction store? This practice is reasonable. Then Xiao Yang in the box flexed his fingers, and the space in front of him suddenly twisted slightly. 10 jade bottles disappeared under Xiao Yang's control, and then appeared in the auction house outside the box. Although there are many people present who are moved by this, they also understand that if they don't want to return empty-handed, they must get rid of those unhealthy thoughts in their hearts. Otherwise, what LV Zhongtian said earlier will become their end. When LV Zhongtian lifted the 10 jade bottles into the void in front of him, he carefully opened one of them. Suddenly, there was an extremely strong smell of ice and cold gushing out from it. In the surrounding space, there were many fine ice dregs immediately. Even now, the auction table hanging in front of LV Zhongtian was gradually covered with a thin layer of ice. The cold power of terror is revealed at this moment. Yes, it's really Bingling cold liquid. Naturally, nothing can easily simulate such a strong cold breath. Therefore, after feeling the terrible cold breath in the jade bottle, LV Zhongtian on the auction platform and everyone here have affirmed that what is contained in the jade bottle must be the ice spirit cold spring. Sir, this is indeed 10 bottles of ice spirit cold spring. Wow. Although the answer has been determined in his heart, when LV Zhongtian said it himself, it still made many people in the stands in an uproar. At the same time, LV Zhongtian also returned the 10 jade bottles in front of him to Xiao Yang intact. According to the rules, the auction items will be taken back by the bidder after the auction, and before that, the auction items and auction chips will be kept by both parties. This gentleman is willing to offer 10 bottles of ice spirit cold liquid. Among those present, is there anyone willing to offer a higher price? LV Zhongtian said with a smile, but there was silence in the field. The value of 10 bottles of ice spirit cold liquid was immeasurable. Let alone know, even if they had something more valuable in their hands, they would not be foolish enough to auction a dragon scale fruit. As for the box where Qin Yun is, although the latter wants to know whether there is still Bingling cold liquid on Xiao Yang at the moment, he calms down and waits impatiently for the next plan. After a long time, LV Zhongtian and Xiao Yang in the box showed a satisfied smile. Then LV Zhongtian judged the result. The atmosphere on the market was silent for a moment. Then, when LV Zhongtian took out the next auction item, the slightly silent atmosphere originally due to the emergence of dragon scales and fruits was quickly raised. Especially after LV Zhongtian's seemingly hot introductions, the price of the auction item soared rapidly. However, for a moment, the atmosphere on the auction site was hot again, and even more than before. LV Zhongtian was naturally very happy about all these changes. Especially when he saw the fierce bidding on the market, his smile was even brighter. While the auction was going on, he would also look at Xiao Yang's box from time to time. After all, Xiao Yang took out 10 bottles of ice spirit cold liquid as soon as he shot, but for the first time in so many years, how could he easily fall behind the latter? However, it is a pity that after the auction of dragon scales and fruits, although the atmosphere on the field is extremely hot, the forces in those boxes are no longer moving, which makes LV Zhongtian feel a little sorry. Of course, if they don't do it, it doesn't mean that these people are really not excited about anything at the auction, but they are waiting for each other. They are like those really high-grade items at the auction. Therefore, even if they encounter something enough to make them excited during the auction, these people still suppress their inner palpitations, wait patiently. In such a boring wait, time passes quietly. With the passage of time, the atmosphere in the auction house is getting higher and higher. At this time, the auction products on the field can be regarded as high-grade things of great value. Even if the auction price is like sky-high for most people, the shouts and auctions still ring one after another. Attracted by the treasure, these people have fallen into the climax of the auction and can't extricate themselves. It seems that they will never stop until they run out of money. In the box, after the dragon scale fruit was auctioned previously, Xiao Yang almost stopped selling it. Occasionally, he also took a fancy to several precious medicinal materials. Although the price is expensive, basically after Xiao Yang sold it, no one will increase the price, which saves Xiao Yang a lot of trouble. Therefore, until 5 baht high-level medicinal materials were added to Xiao Yang's Naji, he consumed less than 1,000 spirit stones, which can be regarded as a big profit according to common sense. With the dazzling auction items on the auction ground one by one, even Xiao Yang couldn't help feeling excited about them. In the process, even several times made him palpitating, and he almost couldn't help but want to fight, but in the end, he was suppressed by his own willpower. Originally, Xiao Yang came to the auction only for the final Fusang flower, but he didn't expect that there would be so many surprises at the auction. I have to say that Jin Yarocheng and his party came well this time. At the same time, after seeing the grandeur of the auction, Xiao Yang couldn't help thinking of the source returning formula in the Naji. Didn't he get it at the auction, and didn't know whether he would have the same luck this time? If he could find another fragment, it would undoubtedly be of great benefit to Xiao Xian. However, although Xiao Yang thought it was beautiful, God was always unsatisfactory, or Xiao Yang was greedy, so in the end, he didn't see anything like the source returning formula. Finally, Xiao Yang had to sigh helplessly at the bottom of his heart. He also knew that the secret of returning to the source could not be found in a hurry. It had to be considered in the long run. If there was that chance, he would be able to get it. If not, he would have to obey his fate. However, fortunately, Xiao Yang didn't have a clue about the formula of returning to the source. There was just a volume in the Ju ancient tomb that day. If he could get it, it would be a great help to Xiao Xian. As for the rest, Yuanwu continent is vast, and how can the fragments of Guyuan Ju only exist in the western regions? After all, this is a powerful skill once famous. People on the mainland who want to gather them do not know how to find the rest of the fragments of Guyuan Ju. They must leave the western regions. Only by broadening their horizons can they have a greater opportunity to gather Guyuan Ju. Maybe it's time to leave the western regions. He sighed softly in his heart, but Xiao Yang's fist was slowly clenched. The vision of the strong can't be limited for anything. The Western region is just a stop on his way to becoming a real strong man. The mainland is large. There are many places he hasn't been to. He hasn't learned about mysteries. Only the place where the real strong gather is the stage where he can grow up. What's more, Zunna's whereabouts are unknown. The only thing that can convince Xiao Yang is that those people who are neither human nor ghost are definitely the people of the Soul family, and their purpose, I'm afraid, is the same as that of the Soul Emperor in those years, all for the sake of Tuoshegu Emperor. In order to save Zunna, he must face the people in the Ghost Hall. If he wants to face them, first of all, Xiao Yang must have strong power. With this in mind, the fist clenched under Xiao Yang's sleeve robe can't help but clench more tightly. In the depths of his heart, infinite killing intention is madly condensed. 980 spirit stones. Suddenly, with a loud drink from the auction desk, Xiao Yantsai regained his mind and stared. It turned out that a volume of spirit-level fighting skills just auctioned had been successfully auctioned, and the price was too high to turn around. Xiao Yang was relieved. As the strong fighters of fighting the Emperor, these people have already practiced their own martial arts. The two are inseparable. Therefore, ordinary martial arts can no longer be regarded by them. Generally speaking, even if someone auctions martial arts, it is actually just for the sake of future generations. The fighting skills are different. When fighting, the attributes of fighting skills are different, the power displayed naturally varies. If you can get a volume of powerful fighting skills suitable for yourself and cooperate with the skill, the power will naturally double. This is why the auction number of fighting skills is mostly in the high-level auction house, while the auction number of high-level skill is small. Then, just after the volume of the fighting skills of the spirit level intermediate level was successfully auctioned by one person in the box, LV Zhongtian smiled and took out another scroll. Haha, as you can see, the next auction item is called Mi Huangji. It is also a volume of fighting skills, and it is also a volume of spirit level high-level fighting skills. However, different from the volume of fighting skills just now, once you can practice this volume of martial arts to a great extent, the power of this volume of martial arts will be comparable to that of Italy level low-level fighting skills, and this is still on the premise of not consuming soul power below. This video will end here.